Okay, so the next part of our project is to sew around the rabbit and then stuff it. So we're going to do that next. So get some white thread off of your bobbin. So when it comes to, we've got quite a lot of white here. What I tend to do is just do like an arm's length. So you cannot see my arm, but if you pull the thread all the way up to your shoulder, I'm holding it in my finger here, and then back down again because we're doubling our thread. That will give you a good length of thread to start with. And then if you run out or you need more, you could just grab another arm's length from the bobbin there. And then same as with the black thread, we're going to thread our needle, hold both ends together, and then just wrap it round our finger and pull to tie the knot. So we're all ready to go. If at any point during the workshop you need to pause to catch up, or if I'm going a little bit too fast, just hit the pause button and we will like sew together. So I'm not going to just like fast forward through the stitching, but if you need to pause or anything, just go for it. I'm left-handed, but I'm going to sew this right-handed, as I'm going to assume lots of you will be right-handed. But if you are a lefty, I'll just explain quickly how you would start your project. So you just open up your rabbit and you're going to start on the left side. So you would just lift up the top flap, pull your thread through, and then we'll start with the overstitch from here. If you're right-handed, we're going to start on the right-hand side. So here we go. This is always the biggest test of my concentration to sew with my opposite hand. Just make sure your bunny tail is on the outside. Okay, so that's what it looks like. We're going to stitch both sides together, and then we're going to add in our ears when we get to the top. So lift up the top layer and just thread your needle through, pull it all the way so that your knot is hidden on the inside there. So just tuck that in, hold it nice and tight in your hand. So just hold it like this. And then we're going to do the overstitch. So to start with the overstitch, we're just going up from the bottom through both layers of felt, and then you pull that. So we go up from the bottom and pull. And you don't want your stitches too far apart, otherwise your stuffing will come out, but you also don't want them too close together, because then it will just take ages and ages to sew around the outside edge of your bunny. So leave a nice little space between them, and just always make sure you're going through both layers of felt. So always up from the bottom and pull, up from the bottom and pull. And we're just going to keep going around like this, up from the bottom and pull. Okay, and we just keep going until we get to the top here, where the ears are. There we go, just keep going. So we're just going to keep working our way around our little rabbits, always up from the bottom and pull to do the overstitch. And that way our thread wraps around the edge, and it will keep all the stuffing safe inside the little rabbit. If your thread gets twisted, sometimes you might get a knot with your thread twisting around, but it's usually quite easy to get out. I like using this thread for sewing projects because it's nice and thick and it doesn't tend to twist as much as like regular sewing thread does. So I'm nearly at the top here. I just want to test where I'm going to put my ears in. We have them like that. It's cute. So I'm nearly there. I've got a couple more stitches, so just put the first one in there so I know when to switch. So we're going to switch to the running stitch. So I get one more stitch right at the ear, and then once I'm there, I can actually fit one more. I'm just going to switch to the running stitch just for those couple little stitches. So you can see in this one, it's just 3 little running stitches, and I switched back to the overstitch, and then I did a few more running stitches and then back to the overstitch to finish it off. So the running stitch, if you're not familiar with it, is the one where you go down. Now this is a tricky bit because it's a lot of layers of felt. So you want to stitch down through all those layers, and then we're going up from the back again through all those layers of felt. Oh, it's a bit tricky. And then down in the front. I've got to do this with my left hand, sorry. Just so I can get it in the right place. Down in the front, it's a bit tricky sewing through all those layers of felt, but just push it through all the way to the end of the ear. So I've got one more little stitch there. And then we'll just switch to the overstitch for a couple stitches in between the 2 ears. So we'll just go up from the bottom and down. Remember, up from the bottom and down. I'll do one more, and then I'll stitch in the second ear. So I'll stick that one in. There we go. So remember, the running stitch is down from the top, up from the bottom, and then just make sure you're going through all the layers. Push that through. If you're finding it really, really tricky, you could ask your adult for a hand just to get you through these layers. Then up from the bottom, probably just have 2 more stitches. Up from the bottom, down in the front, and then I'm ready to keep going with my overstitch down this side of the bunny. So remember to switch back from the running stitch, back to the overstitch. So remember, up from the bottom and pull, up from the bottom and pull, up from the bottom and pull. And of course, I've switched to my left hand, but if you were still going with your right hand, you would just be heading up in this direction. Okay, so just switch back because it's much more, it's much easier for me like this. So we're just going down the bottom, down the side here to the bottom, and we're going to leave a little hole along this side of the rabbit. So we're just going to stitch down till we have a little hole there, and then we're going to stuff our little bunny. So just keep going down the edge. Just like that. Always remember, up from the bottom and pull. We just work our way down. Nearly there. There we go. It's already such a handsome little rabbit. And then you can already start to think about a name, what you might like to name your bunny. You could go for Peter, a classic rabbit name, Flopsy, Mopsy, or Cottontail. What are some other good rabbit names? Anything kind of floral or naturey would be so cute for a bunny. Okay, I think I'm nearly there. a few more stitches. I think that's good, maybe one more, and then I'm ready to stuff. And there we go. So once you have the little hole there, just enough to get your finger inside to push the stuffing up, you are ready to stuff.